Sweden is a close-knit, employment is out of network, and relationship, what actually? All right. Fine. All right, shall we roll? This one is on, this one is on, and that is on.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Hi, we are with Sofia Appelgren in her, this is a nice place actually. What is this place
You
called?
like it?
Oh, I loved it. The house is cozy, nice, warm, comfortable.
Yeah.
So we are in her summer cottage in a small island actually.
You mean the idea?
Yeah.
Why I started this?
Yeah.
Okay, why did I start
yeah,
Live?
yeah, exactly.
So that's a good question. Well, I was born and raised in a family where my father was traveling all over the world. When I grew up, he traveled all over the world, and he made me very curious about differences and different cultures and people, and that was the natural thing for me, and also the thing that created my curiosity for life. When you grow up, you see that a society that is so segregated, at least Sweden and Gothenburg, which is one of the most segregated cities in Europe actually. And media is the channel where you create the picture of different people. And media is, in Sweden at least, always talk about migrants in a very bad way. So almost always, and it's not uncommon in Sweden and the world that we talk about immigrants and crimes, for example. And I wanted to change that picture because that was not my experience. I wanted us to be curious about each other and not, create a society based on fear and on knowledge. So I had an idea to create this platform where we could learn from each other, where people could meet that without this platform they would probably never have met, and make sure that curiosity was the drive in this group. And the first year it was very successful because what I noticed was that what we managed to do was to take away this helping victim idea that we should go out help the migrants.
Correct.
Yeah. Suddenly we created something where we could actually learn from each other and something new grew. And since then this has only, grew because people want to join and make sure that we learn more about the people in our own community. And it's amazing how we can break prejudices and make sure that our opinions are based on first of all fact, but also curiosity for each other and knowledge.
You know, I'm just paraphrasing what you said. You said that we have 150 prejudices and we make 11 decisions in 7 seconds.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
So if I have a prejudice, how do I deal with that? I have a prejudice, I was born with that.
Yeah.
I'm genetically coded with those prejudices, right? Yeah. How do I deal?
Yeah, and that's what we see in our programs. It's that simple to meet people that is outside maybe your everyday life.
Correct.
And maybe your own little community at work or at home and so on. So you have to, if you know you have a prejudice, you have to actually, the only way to fight it is to face it, right? And if you have a prejudice about certain people, why don't go there and ask questions and make sure to get to know those people. And I would say, like in many cases, it would break because we have pretty wrong ideas about each other.
Some great nations have been built on migration because of their migration policy, right? Like US and now Canada.
Yeah.
So So migration policy is not about really inclusive diversity, it's more about economics. What do you feel? As a nation, why do I have a migration policy? Not because I love those people, right? Because I need a competent labor, or I need competent skilled force.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And I mean, we meet companies every day that are looking for competences needed, and they don't find it in Sweden, so they go abroad. But we do have them in Sweden. But we have a system that you enter when you come to this country that is hard to get out from without those professional networks. So we have a system that we need to totally undo and do again. So we can make sure that we take care of all this competence.
When a migrant comes to to a country, he or she comes hungry. They will take up any job, skilled, semi-skilled, sometimes lower than their abilities. Soon they climb the ladder. All right, they start taking jobs at key positions, and there will be a time when these migrants actually employ the locals. Now that is the time when the locals feel that these migrants have progressed more than them or have taken their jobs. This creates a backlash. How does nation address this? Nation which is building on migration, on migrants.
How do we address this? Don't really know what you're looking for, but do you mean if someone the idea that people come here and take out jobs? Is that what you're looking for?
You know, the jobs were always there.
Yeah.
Okay. The locals probably thought that these jobs are not for them. All right. These jobs are too simple, too menial. All right. The migrants come in and take these jobs, right? And sometimes they are lower than their abilities, right? An engineer may take any job because he's hungry at that time. All right. He just come from his own country with nothing. The migrant grows up the ladder, starts taking key position, which was earlier held by the locals. The local means the country's original inhabitants, right? They start taking the key managerial positions because they have climbed up the ladder. Soon some migrants may open their own enterprises and hire locals. So the locals means the earlier inhabitants may feel that they have progressed more. All right, they were outsiders. They have just come and they have progressed more. That is when the backlash starts, and people feel, all right, these jobs were actually meant for us, but somebody else is doing it now.
Yeah.
Right? How does a nation address this?
Well, I don't see it as a problem actually. How it should be addressed, I don't know. It's not a problem. For me, it's not a problem when people grow. No matter who it is, and if they deserve to be there and they grow, for me it's not a problem. So
lovely.
I'm only happy for people to grow. So
lovely.
Yeah, that's a tricky question actually, because that's one of the reasons the Swedish Democrats grows, because people do feel left out. And we have this competition about jobs going on, and it's I don't know what to answer on this one, because I don't have the solution. I don't. It's a tricky one. If you are liberal and if you believe in equal rights for everyone living in this country, no one should be left out, of course. But it's not us or them. It's like everyone is here and we have equal rights. That's the answer for me. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, when there is influx of migrants, they really do not have money to buy real estate in the prime areas. What they would do is that they would start living in the fringes, on the outskirts of city, in the cheaper real estate, right? Soon there will be a diaspora created over there, a settlement created over there, and areas and pockets created over there, segregated. Soon these areas will have their own laws, own systems, will look differently. They could become underbed of criminal activity, right? Now, how do you actually let that not happen and include them from day one into the society, and not let it to be a satellite society by itself in the nation, which does not look like the same nation?
job is the key to integration, and what we see among immigrants is that it takes a much longer time for them to enter the labor market.
Job is the key.
The job is the key for integration, but what kind of job? If you don't get a job comparing to your competence in a large company or a company, you start your own business, so it's not always the key.
Correct.
So you can start your own local little store and still be in this structure in a segregated area which is owned by other rules and other norms and so on. But I think the job is key to integration. I think also that make sure that the schools are mixed, that the kids who comes to Sweden enter schools where they actually can learn Swedish.
Like the example of Ruby, which you have been quoting.
Yes,
the exactly. New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure that the kids learn Swedish, and also there are certain things that we should all sign up for under the Swedish idea. I mean, need we have it's feeling that we belong somewhere.
Wow.
So I think that is one key. We need to make sure that people feel that they belong to our country and they belong to and can contribute to our society. And that's the responsibility of I mean, the Swedish labor market and the Swedish society.
This is where Midlive is actually filling the gap. Midlive is trying to integrate these people by getting them employment. As you rightly said, employment is the key to integration.
But we do have a challenging situation in Sweden. We do.
Correct.
Yes. In 2015, when we had the big migration wave, we had over 163,000 coming to our country during a very short period, and 35,000 was unaccompanied children.
Correct.
Which was a whole new challenge for our system, because they came without parents and they needed a whole other process than a grown-up who comes here and can organize pretty much for themselves. So I think we are in a situation, it's like a milestone in our country. How do we deal with this? And we need to do it now, and we need to do it pretty quickly, because 1 year in a person's life is a pretty long time, and it can happen a lot during this year. I think we've run out of time now. We need to make sure that more people feel they belong, feel that they have a place in our country, and feel that they are someone, and that they are allowed to contribute. And also make sure that we have we are responsible giving people information about our country when they come to our country. What is important in Sweden, and then you can be as free as you want to, because we are one of the most freest countries in the world. But there are certain things that will make it easier for you to know about if you want to be part of the Swedish society. And it's like gender equality, the equality, and it's the human rights. It's certain things that we should sign on together. Then you can be as different as you want to. We need to follow the legal system, for example. But we need to give people more information about what's important in our country. What is our idea?
I think assertion creates conflict in the sense that as a migrant, I have come here hungry. You have given me right to find my food, to find shelter. The country has provided one for me. Probably I can exercise my religious beliefs, my political inclinations privately. But the day I start asserting these beliefs and inclinations will create conflict, right? Now, how would a nation, because certainly if there are more numbers of the same community, of the same faith and same political inclination, assertion will sooner or later happen if they are segregated and collectively segregated. How do we address this?
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot, because those topics we have been working on within Mitt for like 11 years in different companies.
Correct.
But what I believe, what I see is that we need, as a country, we need a strong vision on where we want to go. It's like a company. It's like an organization. We need a strong vision for our country. What is our identity? What do we want to be? And how do we include as many as possible into this idea?
Correct.
And then we need some common values that we all need to sign on and live after.
Correct.
And also a legal system that we all can, sign under. So I think that's the challenge for Sweden. What I believe, at least, that is to find this identity or find the common values that everyone can sign, and where people can be as free as possible, because we want people to be free. Freedom means creativity, development. We all should have the right to decide about our own lives and take our own decisions on where we want to go.
Correct.
But there are certain things that we can't compromise with, and that's the human rights, and that's the legal system, and that's the common values that we need to make sure that we sign together.
Being Swede is an idea, not that you were born in Sweden. It's an idea, it's a tradition, it's a culture which has been there for several years, for hundreds of years, right? It's not an idea which is generated now. All right? Now, actually being inclusive is more or less like coming to a midpoint, more or less like compromising, both parties compromising and coming somewhere to a midpoint. What is wrong if a nation tries to uphold its traditional values, traditional ideas, and not really want to come to midpoint? Because ultimately migrants are guests. They must blend in the original idea of what Swede was, not come to a midpoint.
Yeah, but I believe in the midpoint. I believe that societies develop. We have the globalization. People will move around the world. We should be free to live where we want to and create a life where we want to. So I think that I strongly don't believe in assimilation. In my world, that would be a very, boring life, because we learn from each other. We become rich by being different. So the midpoint should be like the idea about the human rights, everyone's equal opportunity, where everyone has the same value.
Excellent.
That's the idea.
Excellent. But what's your idea about national pride?
I feel like a global citizen, so I'm the wrong person to ask this question. I feel like as long as you sign for certain values, I'm proud of the values we signed here in Sweden when it comes to specific, like the human rights, for example. So if I don't know, I've always feel very connected to people from all over the world. So I can't identify with this thing, but of course I'm proud. I think it's fun. The Swedish culture is pretty fun.
Correct.
We have midsummer, we have Christmas, we have Easter, and it's fun. But I also, my husband is from Turkey, and we celebrate his culture and the traditions over there, and I think that's nice too. So, and I love. Wherever I go, I really appreciate the culture within that country. So that should be one thing, maybe, that, when you come to Sweden, it's fun to know what we do here.
Correct.
But for me, it's not so much more than that. And I'm proud of certain values that we have been fighting for in this country. So for me, that is what I feel when I feel belongingness to this country.
No, as a company, I would look at diverse skill set in the people employed, right?
Yeah, of course.
How would diverse cultural bearing or diverse nationality help?
Yeah, because what we can see is that the companies working with international diversity or national diversity, they have a much more creative environment, and the global companies need people from different countries to reach and grow different markets, new markets, several. So it's and we can see from like a McKinsey report and different reports that have looked into this more deeply, that it's more profitable to have a diverse workforce. When we look on where, for example, young people wants to work in the future, they look on the companies that are most international and most value driven.
Correct.
So that is out from an employer branding perspective, to reach out to talents, the future talents. Diversity is absolutely necessary to work on.
Now, you have seen people from diverse countries,
all
right, different nations. You've dealt with them, all age groups.
Yeah.
What is one common thing you find in all of them? What is a thread that joins all these people whom you meet?
At Midliv we talk about our very basic needs as human beings.
Correct.
For me it's love, and that everyone has somewhere a drive, and I think that if we go back where we are children, we are born curious. And I think that we learn to become less curious as older we become, but what I see is that curiosity and love and care is something that is a pattern.
Midliv is for-profit organization. What is the revenue model?
Well, all profit are 100% reinvested in the organization, so we can make sure to make a bigger impact.
Lovely. Now,
yes.
How do you get profit? Who pays?
Aha, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Who pays for this?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. And this is the tough one because this has taken time to build.
Correct.
So we have our core. Our core in Midliv is our mentorship program. And that's about creating meetings and open up the labor market and make sure that we fight prejudices and include more. So, and then we have our partners. It's like 45 of the biggest companies in Sweden who provides mentorship, and they pay an amount to become a partner.
So provide mentorship.
Yes, so they pay for the mentorship program.
They are providing you the mentorship and they pay you as well.
And they pay for it, yes.
Wow.
And when when it costs something, it's valued into the business life. And we cooperate with lots of companies that are out there looking for the international talents.
You say that the Swedish employment market is very close-knit.
Yeah.
It doesn't work without network, without personal contacts, right?
Yeah.
So, actually, what do you get on the table for these immigrants or these migrants? Your network or your training or skill training?
So today we run one of the biggest mentorship program for foreign-born academics.
Okay.
And what we provide is a mentor who has the same educational background or have valuable working experience at the Swedish labor market that matches our mentees. So they get a personal mentor, and we also support them in like very, very hands-on tools like CV training, interview training, and actually the Swedish codes. We crushed the Swedish labor market codes together through some meetings that we facilitate. And it's amazing. It's an amazing network. We have around We have people from around 60 countries in average in each program. And we have around 45 of the biggest companies in Sweden supporting this.
45 companies are the mentors.
Yeah, they provide mentors. And we provide a platform where we support them with competence within the diversity. So to the youth, so make sure you stay around curious people that supports you. Be surrounded by great energy. Go where the great energy is. And I would also say that, I mean, Mitt Liv has developed so much the last 11 years. So what I thought Mitt Liv would be 11 years ago, the tools looks very different today. So be flexible and learn from people that there are always people out there who are smarter than you. So be very prestigeless and humble to learn from all the experiences out there. We had a heart disease in the family last year, so celebrating life is about not taking anything for granted and live as good as you can every day. And if you have dreams, explore them, because we only have this life, and we need to make sure that we don't grow old and didn't take this opportunity or open that door. And always stay humble. So celebrating life is about creating opportunities also, and make a better world for others. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Go together. Lovely. Thank you so much for your time, Sofia.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to see you in your lovely summer home.
Yeah, thank you so much.